Good morning, St. Francis, and good morning, people of God. It is Monday, the 29th day of August, 2022, Monday of the 22nd week of the year, but also today is the memorial of St. John the Baptist's beheading, the Passion of St. John the Baptist. Coming to you this morning from the Perini Fountain in the courtyard between the preschool and the old church. Again, only part of the old church, I discovered that. The old church went back much deeper than just Founders Hall, which we have today. But this is the courtyard, the Perini Fountain courtyard. It's a little bit noisy today because, as you can see in the back behind me, we are finally rectifying the great destruction of all the trees and the great elimination of all of the nature as we put in some new stuff into the walkway between the breezeway of the church and here the preschool. This is also the second week of our preschool. We have just welcomed our preschoolers for the Monday groups here this morning, and they are busily doing all of their preschool activities. Second week, begin the second week of preschool, and also the second full week of the Franciscan School of TFS. On this Monday of remembering John the Baptist's beheading, we have a first reading, which is customary with the rest of the first readings that we've been hearing for this week, again from Corinthians. Let's see, Paul, in this part of the letter to the Corinthians, his first letter to the Corinthians, basically says that belief in God and trust in God and understanding faith and everything that Jesus said and did does not come about because of teaching, does not come about because of doctrine, does not come about because of dogmas or catechisms. It comes about basically through action, through words and deeds, through showing that one's life that is filled with God, that is filled with the Spirit of God, that is filled with trust and confidence that God knows what God is doing, is what causes people to take a second glance at Christianity, to take a second glance at communities of faith, to take a second glance at what it means to believe in the world. That cannot be accomplished any other way, Paul says, and that remains true even today. We are not people of the book. We are people of action. We are people of deeds. We are people who put into life and into living what it means to have God as a part of our life and to be a part of God's life. The gospel is the narration of John the Baptist's beheading. Again, the sad and sorry state of affairs because Herod Antipas was not strong enough, to basically decide to keep John alive. Again, the great dance that Herodias' daughter, Herodias doesn't like John because John says that she should not have been married to Herod because she divorced her brother, she divorced her husband, and so married Herod. It got all very complicated. It's royalty; they do all kinds of things. But because Herodias can't stand John the Baptist, she gets her daughter, never mentioned in Scripture, but comes down in tradition as Salome, to dance a special dance in front of him, and Herod is just overblown by it and overwhelmed by it that he promises her anything. And again, the daughter says to Herodias, "What should I ask for?" And she says, "The Baptist's head on a platter." And so that is what happens. And that's just the narration of that. It is a narration of sadness. Again, Herod not necessarily wanting to destroy John the Baptist, thinking that John the Baptist may have something important, but again, his preaching was confusing to him. And rather than basically keeping John alive to learn more about the Messiah that John proclaimed and about who and what God can be for people, Herod locks himself into a corner from which he feels as though he cannot escape, his power and his influence being more important, his favor with his daughter and with his wife being more important than the spread of the gospel. It's here one of those cases in which, Jesus, when he preaches, says that he will turn brother against sister and mother-in-law against daughter-in-law and father against son and whatever it is. This is an instance of it. Herod was at a crossroads and chose, death instead of life. And chose a pain and suffering instead of fullness and forgiveness. There is a lesson to be learned for all of us in understanding what our faith means and what our faith should do for our lives. Again, is a faith that is put into action, a faith that is not just doctrines and words, but a faith that helps to transform the face of the earth through the Spirit of God that lives within us. And may the Lord give you his peace.